All right, so let's jump right in. You've probably heard someone say they were used as a cat's paw, right? But have you ever really thought about what that means, where it comes from? Because it's not just some old saying. It's actually a super powerful fable all about manipulation, risk, and, who ends up with the prize. And trust me, once you get it, it might just change the way you look at some of your own relationships.
So let me just ask you straight up. Have you ever been a cat's paw? You know that time you were the one sticking your neck out, doing all the tough stuff, facing the heat for somebody else, only to watch them walk away with all the credit? And what were you left with? Yeah, just nursing your wounds. Let's dig into the original story to see where this whole idea comes from. Okay, so the fable kicks off with two main characters. You've got this kind of mischievous monkey and a pretty clever cat. They're both pets, living in the same house, and they're basically partners in crime, almost always on the lookout for a good snack. So on this one particular day, the prize they've got their eyes on is a bunch of chestnuts roasting away in the fireplace. You can just imagine it, right? Popping and sizzling, filling the whole room with that amazing smell. But here's the problem. How do you get them out of those super hot cinders without getting seriously burned? And this is the exact moment where the dynamic between these two, well, it takes a really sharp turn.
And this right here, this is the moment. It's the whole pivot point of the story. The monkey sees his opening, and he turns to the cat and lays this beautiful, elegant trap. He doesn't order her or demand anything, nope. He uses flattery, the oldest trick in the book. He's like, you are so much more skillful at this than I am. See what he did there? He frames this dangerous job not as a risk, but as an honor, a chance for her to show off her amazing talent.
And the cat, she totally falls for it. Hook, line, and sinker. Sucked in by the praise, she reaches her paw right into the fire. She feels that sting, singes her fur, but she pulls out a chestnut. And then she does it again, and again. What's so wild here is the repetition. I mean, each time she does it, the pain gets worse, but she keeps on going, completely fixated on the job she was just so cleverly praised for.
But think about this. While the cat is literally playing with fire, taking all of the risk, what's the monkey up to? He's just reaping all the rewards. He doesn't offer to help, not once. He doesn't even say, hey, let's share the work. He just kicks back, watches silently, and gobbles up every single chestnut she pulls out. That whole partnership thing? It was a total lie.
Then all of a sudden, the master of the house walks in, and the whole gig is up. And this part just perfectly sums up the brutal final score. The monkey, he's gone. Belly full, not a scratch on him. But the cat, she's left with absolutely nothing. Nothing but a throbbing, burnt claw and that awful feeling when you realize you've just been used.
So, you see, this fable is way more than just a cute animal story. It's a perfect breakdown of a very, very real psychological dynamic. Let's actually dissect the anatomy of what it means to be a cat's paw.
So the core idea here is something we can call proxy-risk, and it's a really powerful concept. It's basically when one person, the manipulator, finds a clever way to outsource all of their risk to somebody else. They get to enjoy all the good stuff, all the benefits, while the other person, the proxy, the cat's paw, is the one left to deal with the damage. And that damage could be anything, right? A physical injury, a trashed reputation, or even just deep emotional scars.
And this slide just lays it all out, crystal clear. You've got two very distinct roles here. On one side, you have the monkey, the manipulator. He's cunning, he avoids risk at all costs, and he's totally selfish. Then you have the cat, the doer. She's the skilled one, but maybe she's also a bit of a people pleaser, someone who has a hard time saying no, especially when they're being flattered. One person strategizes for their own gain, the other one does all the work at their own expense, usually because they just want that approval.
And this leads us to a really, really important question we should all be asking ourselves. We throw around words like partnership, friendship, teamwork, but can you honestly call it a partnership if all the costs, all the scars of the labor are being carried by just one person? The fable seems to scream the answer at us. Absolutely not. No way. Okay, so right now you might be thinking, sure, it's an old fable, but what does that have to do with me? Well, this dynamic is absolutely everywhere. The fire and the chestnuts just look a little different in our modern lives. Let's look at a few examples you might recognize.
Just take a look at these scenarios. In your personal life, it's that super charismatic friend who convinces you to do these little favors that could totally damage your reputation, not theirs. In relationships, it's when you're doing all the heavy emotional lifting while your partner just gets to enjoy the ride. And at work? Oh, at work. It's that boss who butters you up about your unique skills to get you to take on some risky project, totally ready to take all the credit if it succeeds, and throw you under the bus if it fails.
All right, so recognizing the pattern is step one. But the next step is understanding the wisdom that comes from it. A burnt paw is a painful way to learn, for sure, but the lessons it teaches, you never forget them.
Let's just pause and really think about these for a second. What if all that praise you're getting isn't actually a gift, but a weapon being used against you? A real partner helps you move the cinders. They don't just hang back waiting for the prize. And maybe those scars from a bad friendship, maybe they're not just wounds. Maybe they're maps that lead you to better ones. And that last one is just so powerful. Maybe it really is better to eat mice in peace than chestnuts in pain.
So, what do we do about it? How do we protect ourselves? How do we stop being the cat? Well, it all comes down to reclaiming your own power, your own agency. It's about becoming the master of your own work and your own well-being. It's about making a decision right now that you're done pulling someone else's chestnuts out of the fire.
And these mantras right here, these are your tools. First, you have to learn to spot the difference between a real shared mission and a solo risk disguised as one. Next, you own your labor. You are the protector of your own paws. Then, you become immune to the manipulations of the cowardly and the cunning. And finally, you use your past experiences, your scars, as a source of wisdom to choose your companions much more carefully from now on.
And really, it all boils down to this single, powerful thought. This is the ultimate lesson of the fable. A singed paw is just too high a price to pay for an empty stomach. The pain you go through for someone else's gain is almost never worth it. So protect your paws, tend to your own hearth, and make damn sure that if you're going to be brave enough to face the fire, the reward is actually yours to keep.